Dr. Michelle Arthur is the chair of the Department of Organizational Studies. She has been at Anderson for 18 years. She received her PhD from the University of Illinois. She teaches human resource management, negotiations, and statistics to executives, professionals, MBA students, and undergraduate students. Her research is at the intersection of diversity and human resource management. And I'm just going to do a quick handoff to Dr. Arthur. Thanks so much for being here.
To the students, thank you for your interest in our programs at Anderson. As Lisa stated, I'm the chair of the Department of Organizational Studies. In organizational studies, we house two concentrations. One is the organizational behavior / human resource management concentration, and the second is the strategic management and policy area. So human resources and org behavior are typically seen as one concentration. However, students sometimes take different paths. In terms of organizational behavior, which is the study of human behavior in organizations, it's often focused on groups and motivation and tends to be more psychologically oriented and theoretically grounded in psychology. In that particular area within OBHR, folks usually take more like the interpersonal team dynamics, a little more psych-based, and they participate a lot more in what's called our behavioral lab, where we run psychological experiments. And oftentimes that sets them up to get their PhD in org behavior further in their career. I'm going to speak a little more to the HR side of things because that's where folks typically go through the MBA program and they get a job in human resources. And jobs nationwide in human resources are expected to grow by 7% by 2028, which is much faster than the average job growth rate of 5.2%. In New Mexico, we are following that national trend with job growth in the human resource management field at about 6.7% by 2026. The average salaries nationwide for HR jobs is around 100K, and in New Mexico, it's 96,000 as of October 2020, with the low point more entry level being at around 75,000 and the upper end being at around 117,000. So there are federal jobs in human resources, there's healthcare. As we have more business, we're going to have more jobs in the human resource field. The job itself, if you aren't familiar with it, tends to rely on managing people in organizations. It's become increasingly complex as the landscape in terms of legal and human resource concerns has grown. Some of the general areas, though, to give you a flavor of the job, are compensation and benefits, which requires technical savvy, training and development, which requires you to be an educator, staffing, which requires you to recruit and retain the best employees, is essentially marketing for people. And then you have your strategic HR, which is my personal favorite. It focuses on the organization as a whole entity and the bottom line. So how do we recruit to make our organization more successful? You also have to be capable of handling employee situations that arise in the workplace. So there's kind of a technical savvy piece, and then there's the interpersonal savvy piece. You have to be creative in problem solving. You have to have patience. You have to have flexibility with employees because you're going to interact with a wide range of employees with different specialties, different experience at the organization. And sometimes you'll have to be a mediator, you'll have to be diplomatic. You're the voice of management to employees. So you need to be able to help employees understand. You have to be a good communicator and have good listening skills. So you can see that if those types of skills resonate with you, then it could be a good job for you because you have a little bit of both. It's not just technical savvy and it's not just interpersonal savvy. You also have to be well aware of labor law because it's your job as an HR representative to know the law and protect your employer. So we offer a great program that covers those areas. It prepares you for an HR career in New Mexico or outside of New Mexico. We also have a strategic human resource management club with, at last count, about 26 members. It's headed by one of our professors, Chris Wen, and it's a great way to keep you engaged with Anderson and your other colleagues and peers that are in the HR area. As kind of a future step, you can be certified as a strategic human resource management professional, which is an exam that covers the different areas of human resources. And as you grow in your career, the SHRM certification can help you get a promotion and have even a stronger career trajectory. So our program situates you to contribute to the economic landscape of New Mexico in any type of organization. So if you have a passion about healthcare, you can be an HR manager in healthcare, technology. We have a lot of former employees that are at the labs. The labs have hired quite a few of our folks. So I think that gives you a sense of the kind of job and the types of courses that you would take. So the types of courses then would align with the skills that I talked about. So training and development, comp and benefits, org behavior and theory, possibly interpersonal and team dynamics. We also have a big focus in diversity in our department, so diversity in organizations, creative leadership. I mentioned you might have to be a mediator or very diplomatic. So there's also negotiation strategies, which I teach, and then employment law, which all kind of align with what's expected in the profession. So the first question is, do you need to know psychology concepts as part of this concentration, or are the concepts that are important covered in the courses? You know, we have our org behavior and theory seminar, and that's actually taught largely both by psychologists, and they explain the concepts to you. One is taught by Ryan Jacobson, who was trained at Arizona State University. He also runs our behavioral lab, which is a great way to get involved in understanding how academic research works and really kind of getting at the deep dive of theoretical psychological work. But to answer your question more simply, you don't have to come in with a psych background. We have folks that come in with all different types of majors, and they learn the psychological concepts. The second question is, are there specific courses that you recommend to take if you're more interested in the org leadership aspect of this concentration? So I would say yes. If you're more interested in the org leadership aspect of this concentration, you would definitely want to take our creative leadership and innovative organizations class. You might also want to take diversity in organizations. You should take interpersonal and team dynamics, cross-cultural organizational behavior. Those would be a good suite of courses for you to take to round out the organizational leadership, as well as org behavior and theory seminar. And so in a lot of ways, you can craft it in the direction that you're interested in going toward. The next question says, I'm interested in the SHRM SHRM exam certification. How might the concentration help me prepare for that? What other recommendations might you have for exam preparation? So in my opinion, if we're doing our job well in the concentration, you should be prepared for the SHRM certification when you finish. So labor law is one of the areas. You should clearly have had an employment law class and be ready for it. Comp and benefits is another one that's in the SHRM certification. So you want to have comp and benefits, training and development. So if you're interested in the SHRM exam certification, then you want to pick courses that align with it. And so you're going to go what I consider kind of hardcore HR, which is the best way to prepare you for an HR job. And then we also have a class in our EPIC, which is our executive center, which has a specific SHRM preparation course. So that might be an option for you. But in my opinion, if you take the right classes, you should be able to pass the SHRM, but you can also take a specialty preparation class if you'd like. Does this concentration offer paid internship opportunities? So we don't have internship opportunities, specifically that we've kind of gave consistently, but folks do have paid internship opportunities. Sandia is one where I know quite a few people in the HR area have done paid internship opportunities. So in some ways, you would have to keep an eye out with our career placement office and see what comes up in terms of paid internship opportunities. And also for some students that are a little bit more entrepreneurial, they'll go find them and bring them to us. And I can't think of a time where I've ever said this doesn't suit a class. So there's an opportunity to do a paid internship, as I don't know if they're paid as part of your curriculum.
Shelley, can I just add that, Kristen, at UNM, we use Handshake for all job postings, including internship postings. So if you do have an interest in an internship, there are many opportunities that are posted there. So we do have a career services office here at the Anderson School. And we also have a main, just UNM main campus career services office, and both locations will steer you in the direction of Handshake, where we just have a ton of postings. And then if you have an account on Handshake, you will get notifications weekly on updated postings that are put in there by employers directly. So you'll have a ton of opportunity to access that, and very frequently and commonly are HR type roles available. So I just wanted to kind of add that in case there was some questions on what services we're able to provide as well.
I think that's it, Lisa. I don't see any more questions.
Nope. Do you just have any final thoughts or recommendations? Maybe you can give just a short background on why you chose this area of your research, and what it's kind of taught you, and if somebody has an interest in actual research in the future, or sure, taking this track, what you think based on your experience.
So for me, when I talked a little bit about the different skills that you need in this particular area, what attracted me to it is the idea that I could use my kind of interpersonal skills and technical skills together. And so my area of research is actually at the intersection of human resource practices and firm performance. So I look at things like when you have work-family policies, so things like flex time or different types of HR policies, which are considered kind of family friendly, or now it's called work life. But back when I started, they were actually considered family friendly, but I do like the more inclusive term of work life. So I got into looking at when firms announced things that were work-life policies, like a daycare or flex time or telecommuting, which is interesting because that's what we're all doing now. How did that affect the bottom line? And so I was really interested in kind of a more of an organizational level approach. And when I have taught HR, which it's been a little while. So what I teach now is negotiations. And I really like negotiations for HR managers because it sheds a lot of light on that piece about diplomacy and thinking about how to communicate with employees and how to be effective. And some of the general principles there are things like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And uh, and thinking about listening and how to frame things and how to communicate effectively, how to eliminate miscommunications. And I really like how that dovetails into HR when I teach negotiations. When I teach HR, we do a lot more of the nuts and bolts. So things like we start the class with thinking about an organization holistically and strategically. And then we quickly move to, how do you attract people to your organization? What kind of image do you want to present in order to attract the people that you want? And then moving to the kinds of policies that allow you to keep somebody, to train them to do well at the job, because the whole idea is to keep people in your organization and have them be successful, but you got to make sure that you have a strong HR program to make that